welcome to the JavaScript series. Just to recap, we have an HTML file and a JavaScript file, and we're showing how they can work together. We've done a bit linking the two files, and now we're going to start getting into the mechanics of JavaScript. We're not going to go too far because we're just working inside the browser, not doing anything special. All right, so here we have our basic HTML file. This is really setting up everything that we have over here on the right, open in Chrome. So let's go straight to the JavaScript file. Okay, so what is a variable? Really, it is a place for you to hold things. That might not make a whole lot of sense right now, so let's just look at some code and then we'll kind of break down what it does. We're going to start with the word var. This is a keyword in JavaScript to declare a variable. We're going to say my variable, and then we're going to open quotes because we're going to throw some words inside of this variable, and we're going to say some value. So what this means is that the var, to declare a variable, we're calling it my variable, an incredibly imaginative name, and we're just putting the word some value inside of it. So what can we do with this? Well, what we can do is we can log this out to the console. So console.log, my variable. And so far, this doesn't look like we're doing anything different than what we've done in the previous videos. However, let's see what this is. So we're holding some value inside of my variable and then logging it out to the console. All right, we saved it. I'm going to refresh the page over here to the right, and we see that some value came out. The benefit here is that we can change the value inside our variable on the fly, and we don't have to change the actual code that is doing what we want to have, the effect that we want it to have. So we can change stuff in the variable and we never have to change our code. Okay, so moving right along, we've shown how that we can store a word or words inside of a variable. Well, what else can we put in a variable? Not going too far, we can also put numbers inside of a variable. We can have my string is some text. We can have my num or my number is 3. Okay, let's keep going with this. All right, so just like previously, we can print out the variables. We already saw this with a string, but what do you think this line does right here? Well, this is gonna take the number that we're storing and print that out to the console all the same. So now that we have some variables and we have some console log messages, let's go ahead and run this and see what happens in our browser over here. So see that we saved it, we refreshed the page, and look, we can print stuff. We have some text, but look at what happened to the number. We stored 3, or the number 3, in the mynum variable, and then when we log it out, we just log it out straight as 3. And I don't know if this is going to pick up on your screen, but you can see that Chrome here is printing the text in black, and it's printing the 3 in almost like a navy or a dark blue color. What's happening is the browser is recognizing that one of these is a string and one of these is a number. More on that in a later video. That's called a data type. If you want to read ahead, feel free, but we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so moving right along, we can now, we've really just been printing stuff. Nothing crazy has happened. So what else can we do? Well, remember how we stored a value in my num, that was the value 3. Well, we can now operate on those variables. So if we create a new variable called sum, and we want to add 5 to it, this seems pretty straightforward. My num plus 5, 3 plus 5, that's going to be 8, and then we can print that out. So we're not doing anything crazy here, but I just want to demonstrate the mechanic that we can have stored variables in one part, we can reference that variable, and then modify the data with some later action, and then store that in a new variable called var_sum and print that out as well. So now we save the file, we refresh the page, and what do we get? Well, we get all the content that we printed previously, but we also get 8 because that's what we acted upon with this variable over here. Okay, now I want to leave you with one thing, and go ahead and try this out on your own if you want to see what happens. We can do something different in JavaScript that normally we can't do in other languages. I'm going to demonstrate how we can put words and numbers together. Now, yes, you might say like, well, of course, in the 3, we could just kind of store it in some quotations like so and print it out. Yeah, you could definitely do that, but JavaScript allows us to do something else. So I'm going to declare a new variable, and I'm going to call it weird result. I'm going to say, let's see, and I'm referencing my notes over here. I'm going to concatenate with the plus sign the my string variable, which you can see is these words, with the mynum variable, which you can see clearly is just a numeric value here. And then we're going to print this out directly. So console.log, weird result. And what do you think is going to happen? It might surprise you. So we're going to come over here, refresh the page, and watch our console. Some text 3. But notice, remember how previously I said that the 3 was printed in like a dark blue or a navy, and the text was printed in black. But here you see that everything is on the same line. There is no added white space between some text and 3, and the 3 is now black just like the rest of the text. So what has happened is that JavaScript inside the browser, it has casted the string and the number type together as a string type and printed it all out. Go ahead and go play with this. So go try to create some variables with some different data types and put them together and see what weird results you can get. JavaScript is notorious for this, so have some fun with it. Okay, so not much in this video, but we're covering variables, and next time we're gonna start covering some of the conditional and the decision-making mechanics inside of JavaScript. Variables is a really good place to start though, so go play with that, and I'll see you in the next one.